I wanted to make a response video to Elijah's video about not trans enough, or feeling like he's not trans enough. Because I don't know, it really sparked something in me. I know he posted it a while ago, but I really hadn't had time to really go through all of my videos that were in my subscription box, since I'm subscribed to many people. So I finally had some time at work to look through my subscriptions, and I found the video, and it definitely it touched me in a way, because I identified a lot with what he was talking about and how he was feeling. I've been there and I felt that, and one thing that I've learned about being transgendered and identifying as trans for such a long time, since I found out about being, like, you could transition when I was about 15, but like I really started to consider myself transgendered around the age of 17, when I came out to my mom about it and how I was feeling. There's one thing I want him to know, is that in the transgendered community, there is such a wide variety of definitions for being a transgendered individual. There's such a wide spectrum when it comes to gender. To me, there's not really a female or a male. I think there's a lot of different variations in between, and different titles people can take, though I'm not really into labels. I don't like labeling myself that much, but there's no such thing as being not trans enough or being too trans or whatever. I think that's a misconception. I don't think you need to be on testosterone. I don't think you need to bind or anything to consider yourself transgendered. I think being trans is a journey of finding a way to be comfortable in your own skin. He mentioned that when he was younger, when he was a child, that he did not feel like that he needed to be a boy, or that wasn't the issue. That he was a tomboy, but he never had really an issue with, being female. And I do identify with that, because when I was much, much younger, when I was a child, I was very sheltered as a kid until I was about 10. I was very sheltered. I didn't know what gay was until I was about 10 or 11 years old. So I had no idea about any of this transgendered stuff or whatever, being a transsexual or whatever. And I remember some of my youngest memories, I knew that I was different. That's one thing. Since I can remember, I always knew that I was just off, that there was something a little bit not right about me, and I was definitely a tomboy. I was a really big tomboy as a kid, and I just always chalked it up to, I don't know, being young, that I hadn't, maybe I hadn't reached puberty yet, and that after puberty things would be different, that once I started growing breasts and that I got a period, I'd start feeling more female and more comfortable in my own skin, which turned out to be the complete opposite. When I went through puberty, it totally blew my mind. It was totally the opposite of what I wanted to happen to my body. But I remember feeling that pressure as a child, that I just, when my cousins started going, I have a lot of female cousins, and we all started to go through puberty about around the same time. And when they both of my most, my closest cousins got their periods before I did, so I was feeling kind of left out, and I was thinking, maybe there was something wrong with me. Maybe, once I did reach that point of puberty, that things would change and I'd feel more comfortable with me, and it never came. I just became more depressed, and the more depressed I became about it, I try to find different outlets that I've spoken about in the previous video regarding cutting and self-harming, whatever. But one thing I remember when I found out about being trans, or about transitioning into the opposite sex, it was more like a light bulb went off in my head, like something clicked, like, oh, okay, so maybe that's what I am. And I remember when I first found out about it, was actually through a Maury show that he did about transgendered men, and I was blown away by how drastic the transition is. And the first thing that ran through my mind, which is funny, is that I thought I was too short to be a man. and I automatically rejected the idea right away. About that time, I already been out of the closet to my parents about being lesbian, and even then, I didn't think that really stuck. That label really stuck to me because I don't identify as a lesbian. I don't really identify as anything more than I mean I consider myself pansexual because I don't fall in love with somebody because of their gender. I really don't think gender's an issue. I am attracted to who I'm attracted to. That's it. So it's not really an issue. When it comes to sexuality, I knew what I wanted in a sexual sense from a young age, from about the age of 12. So I don't think that there's that misconception should exist at all. In the transgender community, you are who you are, no matter what you identify with. It's all about androgyny. It's all about finding where you fit, finding peace with yourself, whether it be getting chest surgery or taking hormones or cutting your hair or wearing male clothing, or if you're a man that wants to become a woman and cross-dressing, wearing dresses, skirts, putting on wigs, getting a weave, growing your hair out, wearing makeup, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just finding comfort with who you are. So, Elijah, don't ever consider yourself not trans enough. You're just as trans as I am, as any other trans guy or trans woman that is out there. Whether you're pre-everything, it doesn't matter. And I know you might have a hard time passing right now, because I do understand having a female voice and having the soft features of the feminine sex makes it hard to pass. And trust me, I've lived it. I lived pre-T for about 3 years before I actually got onto the hormone, and it is a drastic difference constantly passing as male. But I find that I don't like being identified as bio male. I don't identify as a bio male. I identify as a trans male. And in my transition, what I feel that would make me comfortable is being on hormones and having chest surgery. I am not interested in having bottom surgery. I do appreciate the genital growth I have achieved on testosterone. I think it's considerate difference from being pre-T, but I don't plan on ever getting any bottom surgery because I don't have any interest of peeing standing up. I'm comfortable sitting down to piss. It doesn't really bother me. And I like having a pussy, to be honest. And sorry for being graphic, but I like having my pussy. I don't mind. We get along in that sense. And that's why I've never considered, going into pumping or anything like that, or going into anything that extensive, because I don't really care. It's not something I'm interested in, and it's not something that I think that will define me as a man or not. I am who I am, and though when I'm out in certain public situations I do go stealth, I prefer to be an out trans guy, and I will always be an out trans guy, and I plan to be an advocate for the transgender community, to broaden people's horizons, because I think since I started this transition, I have opened so many minds to so many people who had no idea that this world existed. So, Elijah, you are a man. If that's what you consider yourself, you are a man, and to me, you will always be a man. And whatever, just take it day by day. I know it's hard, but eventually you will find that peace with yourself. It is out there and it will happen. So, just take it easy and let things happen. Well, I think that's all I had to say. So, thanks for listening, guys, and I'll catch you later. Peace.